We are live with another episode of BS Busters.
Hello.
It's been a while. And I guess we'll start with the gentleman with the Mario Galaxy avatar. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
It's me, Super Mario Poke Nerd.
All right. That was cool. We also have the incredibly angry Samurai Jack. Angry, bitter, been around the block Samurai Jack avatar. Introduce yourself.
I do.
Okay, all right. And we also have Dr. Feelgood, but he's currently incapacitated at the moment. I guess he's in the middle of telling people exactly how he feels. If you can see his avatar with his very emotionally charged mannequin. So with that being said, of course, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, the owner, proprietor, and dude who started BS Busters. So without much ado, let's get down to it. So originally I was going to go over some news topics first in this podcast, and we were going to get those out the way. But because we have some other people who are going to join hopefully later on, I decided to instead start with Doctor Strange spoilers, because we can probably gush for a long time on that, probably. So as someone who saw Doctor Strange, I only have one thing to say. It was awesome. It was pretty damn cool. I liked it, and I'm just gonna say it. And I know this might make some people upset. I think that as a origin solo movie, I think that Doctor Strange was a better movie than the original Iron
Man. Iron Man.
Yep. I know some people are going to get mad. I know some people are going to get upset when I say this, and the only thing I can say is, look, the only reason I say this is because, like, Tony Stark is like he's the heir apparent and like majority shareholder of Stark Industries. Stark Industries in that movie all they basically do is make weapons and things that can be used and applied to weapons. The only purpose of weapons is to kill things. Doctor Strange is a doctor. Like, yeah, he's kind of a selfish bastard, but the reason he's a selfish bastard is because he doesn't want to fail. He wants to be the best. And the reason he didn't want to fail is because he wanted to save people's lives, which inherently is a good thing. Getting angry, oh man, my weapons fell into the wrong hands. You're the one who made them. It's really hard for me to feel sorry for someone who makes weapons, which is not really, you really don't, the ideal is to go towards a world where your differences can be resolved without you killing things, not the other way around. So, it's really hard to feel sympathetic towards Tony Stark. Whereas Doctor Strange, it's like, yeah, you're kind of an asshole, but I can see how you went down that path. So, yeah, the film was really good, and I think, in my opinion, it was better than the first Iron Man film. And it's in my top 2 of the single, out of like 5 or 6 films. It's in my top 2 of the origin films in the Marvel Universe.
Okay.
Anything you guys want to talk about it?
I guess it's just that Tony Stark is more for the a-hole.
Yeah.
Who, while Doctor Strange is more for those who still have a shred of empathy in them.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically the thing. Like Tony Stark is more of a jerk. He's an a-hole. He's like, I'll do whatever I want to do. And like the thing is that everything bad that happens to Tony Stark in the films,
it's his own fault.
He brings on himself. It's his own fault. It's like, you did it to yourself, man. Like in the first film, like he gets messed up because with his company's own weapons. And in the second film, he friggin' taunts this guy and winds up like getting he alienates his friends, and that's what causes all this bad stuff to happen to him. The third film, like none of this shit would have happened if he hadn't been antagonizing the Mandarin. Oh, sorry, that wasn't Seth Killian. Sorry, because they changed it because they were afraid. Oh, we can't have the Mandarin. That was such BS, man.
Wait, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Isn't Tony Stark Iron Man?
Yes.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
But what's Doctor Strange then? Like, is that a sub series of Iron Man?
Oh no. Basically, Marvel has been making movies out of some of their second tier, third tier franchises because their main franchises are kind of farmed out. So like Spider-Man, who's like their most popular character, Sony had their hands in that. X-Men, their second most popular franchise, is with Fox, along with Fantastic Four, and I think there's a third one that they have that's with them too, Silver Surfer. So basically, like Marvel had to be creative, so they started taking their second and third tier characters and franchises from the comic book line and turning them into films. So you got the Hulk, you got the Incredible Hulk in 2000 something, the one with Ed Norton. You got Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. Then you've got Doctor Strange now with Benedict Cumberbatch playing Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is based on one of those lower tier franchises that Marvel had going. Now, I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. Like, I've got like 96 trades, and I've got like 4 or 5 omnibuses of Doctor Strange. But I was just comparing the two characters because in both films, like Tony Stark is portrayed as being an arrogant SOB, and they try to do the same. Like some people, well, not really. A lot of people are trying to draw the comparison that Tony Stark and Doctor Strange are essentially the same character, but they aren't. Iron Man and Doctor Strange are not the same character. The same things that drew Tony Stark into becoming Iron Man are not the same things that drew Dr. Stephen Strange into being, well, Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme.
I understand now.
Yeah. Yeah, they're two completely different. You know, it's basically like someone saying, "Hey, man," it's like someone popping up and saying, "Well, Wario is he's just a fatter, bigger, heavier Mario," but not really. No.
He has his own personality.
Yeah, he has his own personality, his own
Style of games.
Yeah, his own proclivities, and just not even the style of games, like the way they behave, the way their personalities are, the way they deal with problems. Like Mario is kind of like a selfless type of person, generally speaking. Unless he's with his brother, then he's a total dick. But if he's by himself, he's very selfless. Like Mario is he doesn't talk a lot. He'll pull up his pants and he gird his loins, and he gets into it. Tighten. He does what he needs to do in order to save the day. His brother Luigi, Luigi used to be basically a carbon copy of his brother, except he could jump higher, and then they turned him into like the younger brother. Well, the younger brother, and now he's like a chicken, but it's like, but he's not really a chicken. Not really.
Nope.
Especially if you played Mario. Well, especially if you played Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
Oh, yeah.
Luigi. Yeah, Luigi is not a chicken. And some of the coolest things he does in that game are really cool. But I digress too much. Yeah, but the movies do have their similarities, but they're not the same. To tell you the truth, I would say the closest thing to Doctor Strange Some people also compared the movie, the opening of the movie, the first act, to Batman Begins from Nolan, which is ironic because actually Batman Begins, the opening of that movie, lore-wise, is not how Bruce Wayne became Batman. They stole that from Doctor Strange, source material-wise, because Doctor Strange did it first. Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
Another reason why I really don't like the Nolan trilogy, because they messed up so much lore in those films. It was not even funny. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it's pretty good.
Oh.
So no, I don't like Detective Conan. So I guess we can move on to the second act since no one said anything about the first one. I mean, spoiler alert. Well, I still have to talk about the first act. In the first act, you find out that Doctor Strange is an incredibly good doctor. Can notice all types of awesome things, saves a man's life. But he's always looking for things that are challenging because he wants the recognition, but he also wants to save his patients' lives. You can infer from the first act that, like, in the beginning when he first became a doctor, he wanted to do it because he wanted to save people's lives. But as time went on, he became more interested in the fame, and that's pretty much where you find out he's kind of an asshole a little bit. But he's still trying to save people's lives. So that's why, in my opinion, I kind of think he's a more sympathetic character than Tony Stark.
Well, going merely off of hearsay, Tony Stark is kind of like just some guy who pretty much had everything handed to him, and he saw himself bigger than life. And over the course of the movies he's in, he gets everything, he gets the shit beaten out of him. It's pretty much deserved, and he pretty much needs it. Well, Doctor Strange essentially is a guy who made something out of himself without two hands. Kind of got a bit of an ego, but then it came tumbling down when his hand was injured, a game-breaking injury. And then suddenly he gets inducted into something that's actually bigger than life.
yeah. That's the thing that kind of got me with that's the thing that kind of got me with Doctor Strange, is that, like, when I was talking about the differences between the two characters, is that like Tony Stark is someone who's very self-absorbed, and everything he does is for his own gratification. Whereas Doctor Strange, everything Doctor Strange does is, part of it is for his own gratification, but also because he's I want to be the best doctor I can because I don't want my patients deserve to have the best doctor working on them. It's not so even there he's it's not just all about me. And then of course he gets in, spoiler alert, he gets in a car accident, and he gets his hands all jacked up, and then he spends all of his money trying to, going through Western medicine shit, trying to basically get his hands better. Of course it doesn't work because movie. And there you go. The only thing he has left is this watch, which has a very big significance later on in the film, and that's it. He's just got this watch and an iPad. That's it.
So that's another difference. Essentially, even though Tony loses more and more things as the movies go on, he still has, his business and his money. But this
he's
guy
never
pretty much
homeless. Doctor Strange at the end of this, at the end of the first act, he's basically he's a hobo. He's like, I'm a doctor. No, you ain't. You a hobo, man. Sit your ass down.
Now see, that's a fall from grace. That's something else a lot of people can relate with.
Well, I wouldn't know exactly about that, but what I will say is that as a character, it's very hilarious. It's not hilarious because there's a scene in the first act where he's like sitting on this, or he's like where he goes to see the Ancient One. He's and he's like talking shit to her. He's like, I don't believe in chakras and mysticism and chi and all this stuff. I see through you. And he touches her, and Mordo's like, oh man, you done fucked up now. and she does this thing where she knocks him out of his body, and then she just fucks with him, and she shows him she expands his mind, and he's like, oh my god. And he's like, would you teach me? And she's like, no. and they kick him out. He's sitting on the door, and he's like, please, I have no place else to go. I spent my last dime to get here. he's just like, he's like, please, you have to let me in. And they finally let him in. He's like, and you just hear this thing. He's like, thank you. Yeah, it's a little bit of comedy. Like, I mean, it's typical Marvel. Marvel doesn't try to be heavy with the.
I like to think that Marvel most of the time knows that what they're making is comic book movies, and they don't try to change it or try to make it quote unquote realistic.
Well, they add humor, which is something that a lot of people don't have in a lot of films nowadays. But anyway,
yeah, you need that levity, especially if you're making a comic book movie, unless it's something grim or dark like Daredevil.
For lack of a better word, they don't try to Zack Snyder all their films. Which, I mean, I'll give Marvel this much: their films are designed to hit all four quadrants, which in the film industry means that it's going to hit families, single people, kids,
young people.
Yeah, kids and young people. Like, you want to hit all quadrants. So, and their films are designed to do that. It seems like DC's films, when like they pretty much want to hit the nerds, because I mean, I shouldn't say nerds, the fans. Which, I mean, it's cool that you want to hit the fans, but it's like, if you're only aiming for the fans and no one else, like, your films are probably not gonna really. But whatever. Anyway, great. It's the first act is pretty cool. The second act begins with Doctor Strange trying to learn magic. Obviously, he succeeds because he becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So I'm not going to get too far into that. It's pretty cool. Which, obviously, a conflict is built. Things go bad. I mean, I like it. I mean, the third act is pretty awesome. If you're a fan of Doctor Strange, like I am, you're like everyone was like, the people I was with, because I saw it twice. The first night I saw it regular because it was my own dime and I was being cheap. And the second night on Friday, I saw it, in IMAX 3D, like full, for the $18 ticket. which I only paid $6. So, yeah, I'm cheap. But anyway, so I gotta say, the final confrontation with the final enemy in the film is kind of amazing, because people are like, oh my god, I can't believe that so and so did X, Y, or Z. But it's like, if you're a fan of Doctor Strange, like, who these characters are. For example, the main villain of the film, Dormammu, he's basically like, in this film, they're like, oh man, he's so badass. In the comics, Dormammu is, I mean, he's pretty damn badass. I'm not gonna lie, but he's like a servant to the Marvel Universe's version of the devil himself. So basically, for all intents and purposes, I mean, you're basically dealing with the second string. You're dealing with the lapdog of the big bad. And so, they're probably going to do a Doctor Strange sequel. and it's probably going to be fucking cool. And I'll totally, if they're going to deal with some of the more esoteric enemies that Doctor Strange has dealt with, it's going to be awesome and totally worth it. So, I guess with that being said, anyone have any questions about Doctor Strange before we move on to the next topic?
Are there any more funny scenes, or are there any scenes that can pull the heartstrings?
Well, there are two more scenes. Well, I'll give you one scene. There's a scene where he gets the cloak of levitation, which is that badass pimp cape that you see in the trailer, where he really just grabs it and he just kind of throws it over his shoulder, and it just goes over his shoulders and clenches itself and everything. It's badass. That cape, the cloak of levitation, has sentience. It can actually beat the shit out of people, which is kind of cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, it can beat the shit out of people. He has a sentient cloak that can beat the shit out of people. That's pretty badass for a magician. Sorry, sorcerer. And there's a scene in the film where you find out that watch, it's about to get stolen. He's like, "Don't steal it. It's the only thing I have." And it gets broken. He's like, "Oh no!" And then later on you find out why that's like the one watch that he would not pawn, and why it's so important. And when you find out why, it's like, wow, that's actually, you're basically his girlfriend in this film is Amy McAdams, and I hate to say this, but her romance with Doctor Strange is more realistic and believable than the romance we saw between Clark Kent and Amy McAdams in Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. Which, I mean, it may be a testament of good writing or better direction or whatever, but it's it makes more sense in this film, and she's way more useful as a character, but whatever. So with all that being said, I guess it's time to move on to the next topic, which, I mean, I tried to stretch out the first one as much as I could, but whatever. Our next topic is none other than an oldie but goodie. If you will. And I mean, this is something we've been talking about a lot, but a lot of people have been saying that games, the game. Well, not a lot of people. Some people have been saying that the game industry is fine. There's no problems. There's no issues. And to those people, I only have one thing to say. Are we looking at the same data? Because year-over-year sales of titles is down. Like, the annual titles are not selling as much. Madden is not selling what it used to sell. Call of Duty has been going down steadily year-over-year for the last 5 years. Overall, it's been trending down. Yeah, there's been spikes here and there. I think the Black Ops games have sold a little bit better than the Modern Warfare ones, but overall, the sales have been going down. Now, part of this is because they've shifted from Generation 7 to Generation 8 a few years ago, but,
Who could tell?
I mean, obviously, okay, if you're going from an install base that's, let's say, 300 plus.
What's up, guys?
Oh, I'm glad you could join us. We just got into the diminishing sales of a lot of these third-party titles.
Do I hear background music?
I hear it too.
Is that me?
I think.
I think it is. But
Okay.
but we've been having diminishing sales of third-party titles, and some people. I'm not naming any names because I don't want to start a flame war. But some people have said, well, the industry is fine, and I'm like, but these diminishing sales over time is not indicative of being fine. You know.
Now making the 109 studios dying.
Well, yeah, the studio's dying. Publishers resorting to harsher and harsher nickel and diming schemes. You know, Turtle Rock, the people who made Left 4 Dead, basically created an entire game that was built around nickel and diming the consumers for everything.
Oh yeah, let's not forget about the whole PS4 and paying for patches potentially.
You know, you know, it's times like this that I'm glad. Like every time, like literally when Black Friday came around last year and they started having some really good deals with PS4, I was like, I'm gonna get it this year. I'm gonna get it, and then I was like, you know what? No.
But you know what? I can't lie. I will be getting one this year, more than likely. But it's gonna be a slim for 250, and it comes with 3 games. So
I
yeah,
can't
it's not
do it,
really
man. Like for me, Sony does not have strong enough exclusives right now for me to get a PS4. And most of the third-party games that are coming to both of those consoles are also coming to PC, and I can get them cheaper on PC than if I were. And plus, I don't have to pay for any bullshit um, online. So it's it's a win-win-win for me. But what are your guys' thoughts on the diminishing sales of third-party games?
Sad, but to be expected.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard about the sales diminishing with third-party games, but it makes sense that Call of Duty would diminish because people are just tired of it. And also, like the sales have also decreased with I think the Mario spin-offs too, but with Splatoon, it was a big success. So like some companies are failing, but like some games are failing, but others are succeeding. This generation, like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, but Five Nights at Freddy is not a big AAA game, and it's an established franchise, but it's not like one of the big established franchises. Yeah, I know it's popular, but I mean, it's like, is it Five Nights at Freddy made by like a 5-6 man team?
Well, yeah,
Like
I think if you have one guy.
Oh,
okay,
okay. I
it's
didn't know
like
you
one
only
guy.
applied
It's not,
to.
you know, when we say diminishing sales of third parties, we mean like like how Call of Duty, basically Call of Duty, the newest Call of Duty is Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare has sold 50% less than what the last year's Call of Duty sold. The servers are 50% less populated than last year's, and the remake of Modern Warfare remaster. It's been completely remade. Um, has literally one of the smallest server populations, which means that very few people are playing it. Even if they have it, very few people are playing it. Which, I mean, this is Call of Duty. I mean, if this was some new IP that people didn't care about, like if someone said some random Japanese studio made a third-person shooter that no one's ever heard about, I'd say,
But you
understandable.
know what though? As an avid Call of Duty player, I've been playing since Modern Warfare. I'm sorry, not Modern Warfare. Call of Duty 3 on the
Mhm.
360. But I can definitely tell you that the sales have been going down ever since. I believe the pinnacle was actually Modern Warfare 2,
Mm.
and even after that, like the overall sales have diminished. They may have come out and said that, oh yeah, Black Ops has the highest pre-orders or higher pre-orders than Modern Warfare 2 or whatever the case may be. But as far as like the overall number of sales, they've been diminishing since Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, yeah, they've been going downhill, and they're always like, I mean, I long suspected because when Activision stopped like telling people how much their stuff sold, like I was like, yeah, they
Yeah, and it basically all started publicly with the sales when Grand Theft Auto 5 launched, and Grand Theft Auto 5 actually like outsold and made way more revenue than Call of Duty did, and it did it faster. And then Activision came out publicly and said, "We're going to take it back." And I think the game at the time was, I don't think it was Modern Warfare 3. I think it was like maybe Black Ops. It could have been Advanced Warfare. I'm not sure. I forget what game it was. But whatever Call of Duty came out that year after Grand Theft Auto 5, it did not touch the revenue of Grand Theft Auto 5. It didn't.
Well, I mean, the thing is that GTA 5, like, here's what people need to understand about GTA, right? And I know people are like, oh man, look at those sales. GTA 5 is on 5 platforms.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
it's
said in my
on.
video today. I said that
Yeah.
you can't really give it credit. I mean, I will give it credit for its sales. It did sell a buttload of copies.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, I'm not gonna
we're talking about an install base in excess of 300 million, platforms. Because if you
Exactly.
look at the PS4, PS3, and Xbox 360, that's a 160 million units install base. PS4 and Xbox One, that's about 50 to 60 million units, and then
And
however
then
many you have on the PC.
And let's just say that's 100 million right there. People who have PCs that are capable of running these games, 100 million. So you're talking 300 to 320 million install base. It damn sure hell better sell, what was it, 35, 34 million?
Yeah, like 30, 34, 35 million copies. So that's basically
Yeah,
roughly 10% of the install base.
yeah.
Whereas Mario Kart Wii sold over 35 million copies. I think it's actually approaching closer to 40, and that's on a single damn platform of 100 million or 101 million. So that's one out of every 3 people own that shit, not one out of every 10.
Yeah, so I mean, people need to, like, people look at the numbers, but they don't look at the whole, like, all the numbers. They don't really crunch the numbers. They just think, oh, well, this is totally easy to understand. I totally
Well,
will be able to get it.
I tell you what it is. You're right. They look at the numbers and they're not thinking about what the numbers mean or how to crunch them. Like, for example, when I used to play Call of Duty, I would see people in the lobby talking shit to me, saying, look at you, man. You camp and you went 10-1. I went 25-20. Who do you think actually did better that match? Your 25-20 or my 10-1?
Yeah, but you have a win rate of 90% versus their win rate of like
Barely
15.
what?
No, 20%. They have a 20% win rate.
But
So 20%
on
of the
top of
time.
that, I even had one person. This is the funniest. This happened maybe about 2 years ago on Black Ops 2. Someone said, like, I think I went that match. It was probably about 15-5. He says, man, you only got plus 10. He says, I actually got like plus 12 because he went like 25-13. I say, that's not how they calculate kill death ratio. I think the point is to die less, not die a lot. If you go 25-25, it doesn't make you a better player. This one, but it is, I got more kills in less time than you, and if you take my kills and subtract them from my deaths, that number is higher than yours. It's like, that's not how they calculate ratio. That's not how it works. But to them,
No.
it's the higher number is always the better number.
Well, they
Okay,
don't
you keep
understand
thinking
basic mathematics. It's like which is a higher percentage? 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 5. And it's like, some people will say, well, 1 out of 5. No, not really.
It's sad, man. And as I said in my video, these same folks, they act as though they got a master's in business and live in a damn basement. And whatever, man. It's pathetic.
Yeah.
I don't know why people choose, and I'm going to say they choose to just not see the real numbers in front of them and see how things really are. I get it. You have a passion for Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, Battlefield, and whatever, and Overwatch, and whatever other popular, socially popular game is out there. But what you can look at is, although you love this and to you it's selling well, it does not mean the companies system on which you're playing it on is doing well.
Exactly.
Because I think it would shock most people if next year Sony said, yeah, there won't be a PS5 for financial reasons. And you're going to have PS4 on the thinking like, what the hell you mean? You were the highest selling console in the 8th gen. Why can't you make a PS5? Because they weren't making
Because
money.
the money, here's what people need to understand. The Wii was unusual because every console sold at a $50 profit. That's unusual, okay, to say the least. Generally speaking, consoles are sold either break even or at a slight loss. The real money is made on the software. Here's the problem with Sony. Their software doesn't really sell enough to make up all the other expenditures they have. Not to mention the PlayStation division also is carrying a lot of debt from the PS3 and the PS2 and the PS1 and, you know, other things that the PS1 division was carrying. But before we move further, we're joined by Kenoshi Abominito. Introduce yourself, Kenosh.
I'm Kenoshi Abominito, here to say that I am done with AAA developers.
Oh, you must have bought Dishonored. No, I'm joking.
No, I didn't buy Dishonored. Listen, it's happened too many times. It's happened too many times on the freaking PC. I'm done with AAA developers. Like, Dishonored was the last straw. Like, how do you people, PC gamers claim to be smarter than console gamers, seem to be ahead of the curve, but they're just as stupid. They're just as dumb.
Well, I mean, that's a nice segue, because that segues nicely to the second topic, which is PC versus console gaming. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me when I say this, but I'm going to jump into the deep end because I don't care, because this channel doesn't exist to make people happy or to win over people or to influence them. I'm just saying how I feel, and I'm sharing it with my viewership. I think that, in my opinion, PC gaming is better than console gaming right now. I know some people are going to get mad at me, but before anyone says, "Yeah, you wrong," listen to my explanation. See if it makes sense, you know, because I'm going to have some valid points probably. And then you can argue with me. I don't care. But let me just state my case, and then, you know, you can agree or disagree. Generally speaking, as a PC gamer, I can get my hands on a game cheaper than most console people will normally. For example, I got Grand Theft Auto for $30, GTA 5 for $30. I got I can get games for cheaper. I can also heavily customize my games in ways that console players can't. Because there's some games that are really fun on PC, but on console, but on PC I can make them better. Some cases this is a case of modding, like a Bethesda game, but sometimes it's literally just adding, tweaking here and there. I also have ultimate control over my social settings, so I can, if I want to have voice chat, I can turn it on or off. I've played Xbox One and 360 games where it was like, like if you don't forget to go into the menu and turn off voice chat, you'll be playing and someone will come into your game and start talking. It's like, who the hell is that? Who is that? You know, running around doing that chicken jump thing that people do in so many of those games. Also, my PC is, I have a larger library of games available to me on PC than what is on a PS4 or Xbox One right now. A huge amount of games available to me. Plus, it's backwards compatible. Really backwards compatible too. Not like, well, you can download it off the digital store, whatever the hell those people. Like, I'm going to pay for something again after I already bought it. So, which leads to my third and final point, which is basically, as a PC gamer, I know some people are going to say, well, the price. Look, listen, okay? The way consoles are built now, and like the type of specs you need in order to have a decent PC rig, the same amount of money you would spend to build to buy an Xbox One or PS4, I guarantee you could probably get a medium spec gaming PC that would do all the shit those consoles do plus more because it's customizable and you can get like miniature things. And I know but the PS4 was originally $399. Okay, yeah, you're right. It was originally $399, but think about it. Who the hell just buys a console and no game? You're going to get at least 1 or 2 games plus an extra controller. So right there, that's $180. Okay, because each of those, let's say most of the games at launch are $60, plus the friggin' controller is $60. So, I mean, that $399, let's say 400 balloons up to.
But you know what though? I have a question though. Right, just a small sidebar. When do we get to that point where controllers cost just as much, if not more, than games? When do we get there?
I don't know. Here's the thing.
I remember I used to back in like the 6th gen and before. I used to buy. Of course, back then it was mostly third parties that made accessories for consoles.
That's true.
And I remember buying, Interact controllers and things like that. There were various other brands I would purchase from too, and they were actually quality controllers with features you couldn't get in a regular controller. But now when I see that an Xbox One controller with a nice paint job costs $60 and $70, like, man, fuck, what, a game is only $60.
That's bullshit. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm an old school gamer, and when I see the price of controllers, I'm like, no.
I've never purchased a new controller for these consoles at all.
Can we be honest? These controllers, these $60 controllers, $50-$60 controllers, feels like they should be 20 or 30.
Well, no, I'm not going to go that far. Here's the thing: people demand.
I think the Xbox One controller is. I think with the amount of research and funding they put in the controller, the Xbox One controller is actually pretty damn good. It's a great controller.
It's not that. Here's the thing that bothers me with the pricing of controllers. It's like, for me, like, I remember when controllers were $10 to $15, maybe $20, right? Like, because, okay, if you had an NES, you get like a new controller for $10, $11, $12 plus tax. SNES, $10 to $15. When the N64 came out, $15 to $20, depending on where you bought it from. The GameCube, $20 to $30, depending on, like, if you got a Wavebird, those were $30. Well, $29.99 plus tax. If you wanted a game controller, $19.99. If you maybe get it on sale sometimes for $15. Like, that's reasonable. Like, you don't mind getting 2 controllers for like $30-$40. But who in the hell, like, if you want to have multiplayer, I got to spend $80, $60, $70. Like, I have friends who are like, oh man, I got that Xbox Elite controller. Why? Why would you spend $100 on? Look, the only way I would spend $100 on a controller is I have a
If
gold.
it's an arcade stick and you love playing fighting games, I will understand it then, because then you're paying more for the construction.
No, not on a standard controller. I'm not talking about a joystick, because like, if you want one of those NEC if you want one of those Neo Geo like fight pads, those things the cheapest ones cost like $80, and the really, really nice custom made ones are like $200, $300, $400. But like, professional gamers get those things, and people who really, 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 really like fighting games. I'm talking about your normal, average, everyday Joe Blow gamer. Yeah, I spent $100 on a fucking controller. Basically does the same things as my other controller, except it's really customizable. Look at these trigger things on the side.
Yeah, I trust me. I know how you feel. My brother-in-law, he wanted one of the Elite controllers for this last Christmas, and even when he was asking for it, I wasn't gonna buy it. I mean, because my thing is, I understand you wanted us to give, but me personally, no disrespect, I'm not that stupid. But he really wanted one, and of course he plays Destiny here and there, and I was just like, so what does this controller do that your current controller cannot do? And of course, he tells me about how you could take the D-pad off, you can exchange the analog sticks. I'm like, but that's not answering my question. I ask, what does it do that you cannot do? Because you're not a professional competitive gamer. Even in Destiny, you're not. And you're not even one of the best players I've seen. So it's like you kind of got this is the same reason why people play popular games. You got it for the attention and just to be a part of the it crowd. But it does nothing different than your standard controller, except it gives you alternate ways to get button inputs via the little levers on the bottom. I said, but you don't. But I can see professionals using that, competitive players. But a typical everyday Joe won't. Your muscle memory is going to still be geared towards pushing the actual buttons, not using the levers on the bottom.
Well, I mean, like here's the thing: these elite, quote unquote, elite controllers and pro controllers, like all this stuff is there to make console gamers feel like it's basically there to cater to them so that they can feel like they are quote unquote elite players, but they aren't really. I'm sorry, like. I don't care how great your controller is. You're never going to beat someone who's been playing for years on a mouse and keyboard in a first-person shooter. I'm sorry. You're not.
Or a Wiimote.
Or a Wiimote, which, I mean, let's keep it real. A Wiimote's basically a mouse. Okay, it's a mouse it's a mouse and keyboard controls, except it's been simplified. But still, I mean, you're not going to beat that setup because it's more natural than using controller to do that stuff. Now, I love playing games with my Xbox One controller. Well, actually, I don't have an Xbox controller. I have a Rock Candy knockoff that doesn't vibrate, but the hell do I care? It was $19.99 because I'll be damned if I'm paying $50 for a friggin' Xbox 360 controller. I'm cheap. Goddamn. But I mean, let's take it. Anyone else want to? Anyone want to disagree with my notion that I feel that PC gaming right now is better than console gaming?
Well, the one thing I have to play devil's advocate on is this is mostly mainly towards Bethesda or any other games that you need mods to make the game interesting. Mods should be like the ice cream a la mode to a cake or a pie. It should be the extra patty on a burger. It shouldn't be the patty on the burger or fixing an already ruined cake. And that's what
But you got something against mods?
No, people use mods as sort of an excuse for, well, the game sucked, we'll just fix it with mods. And you're paying $60 for this game. So you're paying $60 to fix something that's broken.
But I got a PC. I got it on PC. I did not pay $60 for that game. Most PC gamers are not buying things day one for $60, $70, $80. They're waiting for a Steam sale or a Humble Bundle sale or
a CD.
Green Man Gaming. And I'm gonna keep it real. And this is just me keeping it 100% real with you guys. I've been playing Skyrim Special Edition, and I played it vanilla for the first. I created a vanilla save, and it's fine. But really, once you start to mod it, it makes the game so much better. It really does.
I would say this to me. I would say this, and this is just my perspective. I'm pretty sure some would agree with me. When it comes to PC versus console gaming, I believe PCs are far more capable than consoles. I won't say they're better because it depends. See, to me, better is a matter of preference.
Exactly.
I prefer plug and play. And to me, no PC to this date, no matter what kind of damn specs you're running, is not plug and play. You cannot buy that disc, pop it in, and play within seconds. Don't lie to me.
Wait a second. Let's keep it real though. If you own an Xbox One or PS4, they ain't plug and play either.
No. I'm not. You're talking to someone that I just got an Xbox One, so I definitely know that. Trust me, I know.
One console
but
on the market
I'm an old school gamer, and I still play my Wii U more than anything else. But when it comes to console gaming versus PC, for the most part, PCs you have to install. And I understand once you install a game or whatever, whether it's physical or it's digital, or whatnot, you can access it with ease. I get it, and I will admit it is superior and it is far more capable. But no matter what you have to say about PC gaming, no matter if you're a PC elitist or master race, cut the bullshit because guess what? Your shit depends on how developers feel that day.
Yeah, that
Because
is
if we look at what Kenoshi posted earlier today about Dishonored, they honestly didn't give a shit about Dishonored.
well.
In fact, the console versions play better. The PC version is very broken in
Well,
many aspects of the game. And
I
to
would.
me, it's like, okay, if PC is so superior, why is it effing up? Well, it's
I
not the
would.
fault of the PC; it's developers.
I would. I would get further into that topic, but you're going to have it on your podcast later on, so I'm not going to because I actually have some information about it that some people haven't talked about. Um, that's very pertinent to the situation. Um, but anyway, basically, I mean, look, listen, I can see both sides of the issue. I think in terms of if you want a no muss, no fuss gaming experience, consoles are easier for people because no bullshit. Just take your disc, put it in, wait for it to
Plug and play.
install. Well, I mean, it used to be like that. Like a generation, well, not even seventh gen stopped being like that. Sixth gen, it used to be like that with all the consoles. Just put your stuff in there, call it a day. If you had a Dreamcast, if you had a PS2, original Xbox, a GameCube, put your stuff in there and call it a day. It's not like that anymore, unless you have a Nintendo console. Then you don't have to worry about it. But people don't want quality anymore. They want to be with the in crowd. So, they got these consoles that are basically shitty versions of PCs. They're shitty micro PCs, which is what the PS4 and the Xbox One really are. But they have none of the benefits of having a PC and all of the problems. So it's like for me, that's the problem. It's like, and the exclusives to me aren't strong enough on either of these consoles to really make it worth my while to spend the money to get one. So just like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not running over myself to get knack. And while Sunset Overdrive is fun as hell, I have a friend who has an Xbox One and I played it and beat it over at his house. So I don't need to play that game again. But I digress. Anyone have any topics they want to bring up since we've reached the end?
NES Mini.
Oh yes.
What is up with Nintendo? How come they can't keep supply up?
I can answer that for you, and I've said this on numerous podcasts over the years. Nintendo has said this publicly. They are never and will never be about exceeding demand. They like to either come short or meet demand, but never exceed it. And they go by early projections. So let's say, for example, let's say Mario Kart 9 is on its way out, and Mario Kart 8 is sold almost 8 million. What Nintendo will do is their initial shipment will probably be around, I say half that, 4 to 5 million. Because they know it's going to sell. They do not like to have just their product sitting on the shelf for months, if not years, unsold, because they're a very frugal company. To them, even wasting a single disc, since they're the ones that make it, they produce it, they're responsible from beginning to end. They don't like to waste any money. They're like a person that when they buy, when Nintendo buys a loaf of bread, every slice gets eaten. It has to have a purpose, otherwise they will not do it.
Even the ends, and they take the crumbs and toast those things and put them on some rice. And
the best tip I can give is Nintendo's the kind of company that when they buy a pack of buns, it comes to 8 hot dog buns or whatever, and they buy a pack of Franks. If that pack of Franks comes with 10 of them in there, they will literally not buy it. They want to buy the one that comes with exactly 8 because they know it'll be sold. They will never. That's why that's why people were bitching like a couple of years back about not being able to find Pikmin on shelves. Nintendo made enough that they knew they would sell out.
Yeah,
That way they don't feel like,
then,
oh man, we got like 200,000 copies that hasn't been sold yet. So what are we
they
gonna
wanted
do?
some more. So then people said they wanted some more, so they made some more. I mean, like, here's the thing. This is kind of like what bit Microsoft in the ass with the Xbox One. Like, I remember before they started doing the price drops, which made them lose even more money, but no one likes to talk about that. You could go into a Walmart and see pallets, friggin' Xbox Ones, like in the middle of the floor, just pallets, like 2-3 pallets of Xbox One.
What about this Infinity figures?
Oh, don't get me started with Skylanders.
Yeah, exactly. That's another example. Disney was
Skylanders,
paying
Disney
$50
Infinity.
million a year to retailers to keep their shit stocked. Because if you go into most stores, they have a whole row to themselves, like a whole aisle of nothing but just Disney Infinity. Well, they're not selling that many, which is why you always see them shits on sale. Same thing goes with third-party games. I remember last year, when the whole Watch Dogs debacle happened with the graphics downgrade and shit like that. Well, I remember when the game dropped within that first month, Ubisoft made a public statement. They said that they expect to sell roughly about 4 million copies, right? But they said they're going to go ahead and ship 8 million units. So if you only expect to sell 4 million copies, this is your expectation. Why would you produce and ship 8 million? Which is why now you can actually buy Watch Dogs brand new for 10 to 15 bucks.
Which lowers the overall price of the game. Because here's what people need to understand about retail, okay? When a company ships a game, they aren't actually getting money from the customer. The company says, okay, we're going to need 3 pallets of that particular title at our store, right? The business is actually paying the publisher, whoever's shipping them that thing. That's who the money's going to. It's not coming directly from the customer, which is why you see all these games have online and DLC. It's a way that these companies can get some money from the consumer for what they made. Because in reality, like, let's say you're buying a game for $60, the store themselves might be making $10 or $15 off of that game. The rest of that money is getting split between, a portion of that money is going to the shipping people, and then the rest of it's going to the publisher. Let's say $40, $30 is, after all those people, is going to the publisher. Publisher's going to take $20 of that and probably give 10 to the developers.
And then if you add to that the fact that retailers actually have the ability, let's say they requested 100,000 copies from Nintendo for a certain game, and they only sell about 20,000 copies after like 3 months. The retailer can then, now they've already paid for this. They requested and paid for this. They can actually choose to ship that back and get credit for it.
Get their money back.
And that's not good.
Yeah, which is what Nintendo had to do with those Wii U's. Back with those basic models, so the basic models weren't selling, and so basically Nintendo had to come and get their things back and refund that money. So I mean, people need to understand, and Microsoft had to do the same thing. Don't get it twisted, okay? And like people need to realize something, okay? Things aren't as peachy keen and rosy as people might have you believe in the industry. Well, some people will tell you, no, they're just fine. Yeah. A whole bunch of studios closed, but everything's fine. That dude's bleeding out of his rectum, but it's fine.
He got Mexican food.
And Nintendo's plan, I can tell you right now, it's going to be the same thing as what happened with the Wii, as well as the Amiibo during the first year. The NES Classic sold out because they didn't make many. They want to make sure their first shipment completely sold because, like Nintendo always says, when they release things, they don't have this expectation of, oh, it's gonna fly and sell 100 million units. They don't have that mentality when they receive.
Yeah,
they have a very, very modest outlook on, like, well,
let's keep it real. There were a few people who were kind of excited about the NES Classic Mini, but there wasn't like, oh my god, I have to have it. It was more like, yeah, this is cool. I might pick it up. I wasn't seeing the buzz around it like there was about the Wii. Like the Wii, that was on Nintendo because there was a lot of buzz about the Wii. Like there wasn't really like You know, I wasn't seeing that from the NES menu. Sorry.
Well, if the honestly, if the industry didn't eat that ghost peppered filled enchilada that is called the AAA market, it would be fine.
Well, I mean, look, listen. I'm not saying that there's no room for AAA development in the industry. There is. There's room for everyone. Like, okay, like it's like someone saying, "Well, we don't need luxury vehicles," but there are people who want to buy luxury vehicles. There's
a
nothing.
market for it.
Yeah, there's a market for it. It's just if the market is dominated by luxury vehicles, that's when you're in trouble. I mean, that's the same thing that happened when we had the auto industry crash, because a lot of people 3-4 years earlier were like, "Oh man, these SUVs are friggin' flying off the shelves. Let's make more." And it's like, but what if gas gets so expensive that people can't afford to put gas in their SUV? That doesn't matter, bitch. You know.
And guess what? And during that whole automobile crash, you know what the most traded in vehicle type was when the government had that program? SUVs, and the Trailblazer topped it.
Yep. And here's the thing. Look, listen. I'm not saying
these are gas guzzlers.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with an SUV. I'm simply saying that the market, you need variety in the market. You need variety in every market. Like, you can't have all AAA games and no AA, single A, B, C titles. Well,
Exactly.
C are indies.
Also,
B's and C's are indies.
to add to that, you also need good AAA, not what we're getting these days.
Well, I mean, in terms of quality, like AAA quality, you know, that's debatable. Because, I mean, some people will forgive a lot of things from a AAA title. Me, I have my limits in what I'll forgive in a AAA title. But some people will forgive all types of stuff with AAA titles. Like, whoa, that's not cool, dude. But I think that gamers, I think gamers need to get smarter.
Definitely.
Yeah,
but to me, when it comes to NES Classic, I think the biggest issue that's causing, the shortage, in my opinion, is because
Scalpers.
I can almost guarantee you that about half the people that bought one don't even own a current or last generation Nintendo console. They bought it because they can resell that shit at the inflated price to the ones that really do want it. Because even that morning before the stores open, I looked on Craigslist just out of curiosity. Before stores open, someone had already bought an NES Classic and was selling for $150. I'm thinking that's almost 3 times the price. And
listen,
Sprite said
it's 2.5 times.
Listed for $1,500.
Listen, scalpers. Let's be honest with ourselves. Scalpers are evil people and should be taken out back and dealt with old Yeller style.
No, they don't. Old Yeller style. But they need to be taken behind the woodshed. And someone needs to, no.
They need to be Pulp Fiction. Let's just leave it at that.
No, not Pulp Fiction. They need to be taken behind the woodshed and with a good leather belt and have a come to Jesus moment with their daddy. You know, just a good old fashioned ass whooping, or maybe a witch.
But I would tell anyone here,
Red Fox
and listening. If you really do want an NES Classic,
you're crazy.
If you really want an NES Classic, anyone out there listening, trust me. Wait until closer to Black Friday or the Christmas or even December. Nintendo's going to restock them. But keep in mind, it's not their fault. Nintendo chooses to do this because they don't have these lofty expectations like third parties where, oh yeah, new Tomb Raider. We expected to sell 20 million copies. Oh damn, it only sold 6.
Or I have a equally good idea. If you guys really want to play these old games, you can get a Wii Mini, and it has you can play those games. Yeah, you don't have the nifty modes, but you can play those games and it'll be just as fun. Just calm down, okay? Just calm down. Okay?
But the novelty looks so cool.
Yeah, I know, it's so cute. It's a cute little indie. Yeah, I know, it's so cute. I get it. Listen, I almost succumbed. Then I was like, you know what? I have all of these games in a real NES. Why the hell would I get a mini NES when I have a real one?
I agree. And my wife, she was trying to surprise me with one. And to me, I don't get me wrong. I do want one, but if I don't get one right now, I'm fine with that because I have about 10 of those games already on my either my Wii U eShop or my Wii's Virtual Console. I already have a lot of those games. Do I
Yeah,
want the NES Classic? Hell yes. But as I said, I'm definitely not paying a scalper extra money. And to me, it's not a life or death situation. I just got an Xbox One S about a month ago. Um, I still got a terrible, terrible, terrible backlog on my Wii
yeah,
U.
yeah.
I won't even get into my 360 and my PS2 and PS3. I'm sorry, I just already don't have enough time in the day to even finish one game, let alone add classic games to that. So
I've got too many games. Like literally, we should have, you know how everyone has charities nowadays, you know, too many games and the gaming expo and 48-hour gameathon, all that type of stuff. Literally, all of us have. We should take a backlog challenge where we try to get through at least 5 or 6 of our backlogs in a weekend. and, like, look, man, we got through it. The backlog. Um, I don't like. I think that there's like. I just wish gamers would get a lot smarter, especially in how the industry is running right now. Stop buying things day one. Just stop and understand.
I would say this. I'm this may be a little biased, and I'll admit that. But to me, this has been true for at least the last 10 years, at least. Even it's still valid today. The only two things you should buy day one, if you love playing games, you cannot wait. Nintendo consoles and Nintendo games.
Well,
I hate to sound biased, but if you really think about the way the industry has been this generation and half of the seventh gen, the only games you could truly trust at launch have been Nintendo games 9 times out of 10. Because even Grand Theft Auto 5, there was no online play, and then when it did launch 2 weeks later, the shit was broken.
yeah,
So
and
even
it's still
games you do
very
love,
subpar.
even Call of Duty, which used to work out the gate at launch, even for the online, now you're having issues where you need gigabyte patches for the shit to work properly. So it's like to me, there is nothing else you should buy day one if you really want to have the best chance of shit working the way it should.
Wow.
Nintendo day one for me. Like that's the only thing I will buy day one. Anything else, I can wait.
Yeah, just honestly, if be a little more fair, just just buy a game from a one from a publisher, will hasn't screwed you over before, and that's the reason I brought up the whole, why should people pay $60 and fix a game? It's because there are still a lot of gamers out there who will buy a game day one on Steam and who will buy the big shiny special edition 80,
But
90,
but I
$100.
guess what gets to me, Kenoshi, about that is okay. And I said this in a video I did about a week or two ago. If a publisher comes out, let's say a game is supposed to come out December 1st, and let's say today that publisher said, "Hey y'all, we're gonna release game A on December 1st for $60, and 6 months, and on June 1st next year, we're gonna release the Game of the Year edition. That's gonna include all the DLC we announced last month for free." And for a cheaper price. So for $30 in 6 months, you can get the game and all the DLC. And I said,
And that's
a lot
why
of
I
these
tell
bastards
people
would
to
still
wait.
run out there and buy the game on December 1st, knowing full well there's going to be a Game of the Year edition with everything for half price.
And that's why, or either there's going to be a game of the year edition, or it's just going to go on sale. I mean, stop paying. The only games that kind of hold their value, to an extent, are GTA, Bethesda games to an extent, like their latest version. But other than that, like everyone else's stuff, within like Call of Duty, within a month starts going down in price. Like
Exactly. And like me, I
by
personally waited.
not next year, by next month, in 30 days, you can find a Call of Duty game. You'll find the Call of Duty right now for under $40.
Well, no. Check this out. Even right now, Best Buy has a sale: buy one get one 40% off. And guess one of the games included in the sale is Infinite Warfare.
Call of Duty.
And people, like I say, I've been wanting Xbox One. Xbox One since launch because I want to play Sunset Overdrive, and that's the first game I bought for my Xbox One. It really is. I enjoy it. Now, I wanted Mortal Kombat, but I wasn't going to pay for the DLC. I wasn't going to pay for fatalities, and I knew at that point if I really wanted to play that game, I wasn't going to buy it at launch or nearby. Well, they released the XL we know recently, and
Isn't it
I
like
guess
30
what?
bucks?
It's now the XL is normally $50. I got it for 10 brand new at Best Buy
There you
with a
go.
price
I
match.
mean,
I got it for $10. I got Fallout 4 for free. I got I got the Witcher Complete Edition, which is $50. It comes with all the DLC. I got it for $25.
but that's called waiting. Like gamers want instant gratification. They're like drug addicts in that way. They're like, I need it now. I need it now. Just wait, dude. Wait, it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, and especially
You don't buy a game
The Witcher
the
is
day
an
it comes
online
out.
game.
If you don't buy a game the day it comes out, it's not like within 6 months it's going to disappear. Unless you're talking about that game Too Human by Silicon Studios with Dennis Dyack.
Or Evolve.
Evolve isn't disappearing. It's just no one wants to play it. It's really disappearing. No one wants to play it. It's different. But they literally took the physical copies of Too Human and destroyed them. Like that is some harsh shit. I always wanted to play that game, but I every time I wanted to play it, I was like, nah, I don't really like Dennis Dyack anymore. So whatever.
Yeah, he's a creep now. He's a creep. Yeah, he solid his name.
I don't know about that. What I do know is that I will always suspect him of pulling funds from one game to fund his pet project Too Human. So
What game did he pull funding from to pay for 2
well, he
games?
was in charge of his team was in charge of making that new X-Men. It was supposed to be like X-Men Legends 3, but they lost the license, so they lost the license to the popular X-Men characters. So instead it became X-Men Legends Academy or some junk where you could create your own characters, and they had all these second, third tier X-Men pop up in it that like no one cares about. And it's like the game as long as it was in development and as much money was supposedly quote unquote put into it, it did not look like how it was supposed to look like. So
he did a Gearbox. He pulled a Gearbox.
Yeah. But this was before Gearbox ever did that stuff with Duke Nukem and Aliens, Colonial Marines. So I've always suspected that some of that money was funneled into Too Human, because Too Human actually looked really good.
It looked good before the actual thing was, shipped out.
No, even the main game. I mean, okay, for that game to be a PS2 and original Xbox title, I think there was also a GameCube version. But don't hold me to that. Or there was supposed to be a GameCube version and they canceled it. I can't remember. Too Human, actually, for the tech it was on, it was actually a really good looking game. It's like, damn, this game looks, and you could tell that they tried to make it really complex and be deep. But I mean, I don't know.
It didn't do very good in the review department.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a lot of people shit on that game.
It was the problem with the title is the problem with Too Human, from what I've seen of it, is that the game was a little too over pretentious, and it came out. It came out at a kind of at a saturated moment, like a lot of other. Like it came out around the same time as the original Mass Effect came out, and like Jade Empire came out the year before. Like it was saturated with those types of titles. And
so was it David Cage pretentious? Was it David Cage pretentious?
No,
not that quite.
It wasn't David Cage pretentious. It was like it was like they reached too high in that game, and like they came out at the time where the market like they were going up against BioWare and Obsidian. Obsidian was still making really good stuff, and it's like you're not going to beat Obsidian and BioWare. You know, especially in that time when they were at the top of their game. So, I mean, you're coming into a market where you have some of the best games of their genre. You had Obsidian with like their stuff, and I mean, you know, it wasn't going to happen. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, I think we've reached the end of this cast. Anyone have anything they want to pimp out before we wrap things up?
Liger's video about the whole situation with the NES Mini.
Okay. Anyone have anything else they want to pimp
Yeah, I
out?
want to say that games are good to buy day one if you really want them. That
Well,
bad.
yeah, if you absolutely have to have it, go for it. I'm just saying, for me, as a consumer, like the value of the game doesn't go down by me not buying it day one.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like Xenoblade Chronicles X, whether I bought it the day it came out or I buy it now, doesn't change how good the game is or my enjoyment of it. You know what I'm saying?
Also, people do research when you buy something.
Mm-hmm. Listen to reviews. Don't use them to guide your thing, but listen to multiple reviews. Get different people's opinions, even if they contrast and compare, and then form your own. Anyone else? Dr. Feelgood, I know you got something you want to pimp out. Go ahead, do it.
Oh yeah. Well, be sure to check out my video I did today called Nintendo It Alls. The ones that claim to know what's best for Nintendo all the time, even though they never step foot into a corporation, and they probably live in an attic or a basement. Um, I did another video before that. I think it was last week called Violence and Realism. So be sure to check that out. And the OGL number 38, I believe it's number 38, should be going on within the next hour, actually less than that. So be sure to tune in. And as I always say, keep it gaming.
Or else, no. Kenoshi.
Hello, this is Kanashi Abamanito. Here to say that here to say that it's been nice to be on another one of these podcasts, and OJ might not be in America in the next couple of years, so
Did you really have to go there, man? Oh my gosh. Oh, what a boy. Those to be trolling.
I did not want to bring up anything like that, and we won't anymore.
Oh gosh. Let me put another positive spin back on this. I hope the viewers enjoyed the screen share of Paper Mario Color Splash. That was actually my wife playing. I've yet to play it because she has been hogging it. I've had it for a month, I believe, and I still have not played it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's more to come.
So
I think
someone in
she's
your
done with the
household.
game. And
Someone in your
let me also just say the way they recreated that world from Super Mario Brothers 3. Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Okay. So here we go. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan of gaming, video gaming. Shit got a little real this week, as we can all attest. So with that, I'll leave you guys with pimp out something that's coming out next week, which is another BS Buster, same bat time, same bat place, 8 to 9:30. Normally I go longer, but our topics have been easier to get into, and people have been showing up, so don't have to go as long. And a little bit of hope. Never give up fighting. Always stand tall. Shrug your shoulders. Pop your joints. Pop your neck, and get ready to dig in. Peace.
Peace.